Hi guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's Mastermind time here with another video for you. This one is kind of on a more serious note, as I'm recording this the day before to post on the day of. So by the time you're seeing this, it is Transgender Remembrance Day. And with that day, we all have to remember all of the fellow trans people or allies, trans people who did not, well, the allies of trans people have to remember all the trans people who did not make it, as well as the trans people such as myself. He is a transgender man. Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo. Sadly, there's been a lot of deaths so far. This year, there's been 36 violent takings of the life of trans people in some way. I shall now read them all. Dustin Parker, 25, fatally shot in McAlester, Oklahoma, early on New Year's Day. His employers released a statement shortly after his death, remembering Parker as a steadfast friend, an amazing husband and father, and generous to a fault. He loved fiercely, worked tirelessly, and took on life with so much hope and enthusiasm that his presence brightened all our lives. Now, this next name I might butcher it, because I don't know how to say it, but I'm thinking it's Nulisa Luciano Ruiz. Was fatally shot in Baja, Puerto Rico on February 24th, according to Metro Puerto Rico. Members of the community knew her as humble and noble. Gamby Mendez Arocho, 19, killed in Moca, Puerto Rico on March 5th. Arocho is a transgender man, shared his love of basketball, the NBA, donning Miami Heat apparel on social media. The biography line on his Facebook simply reads, "Humility prevails." Scott/Scotland Devore, a 51-year-old gender non-conforming person, was killed in Augusta, Georgia. Friends remembered Devore as sweet and beautiful on Facebook. Monica Diamond, 34. A black transgender woman was killed in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sorry about that big thing, that was just a notification. On March 18th. Diamond was active in the Charlotte LGBTQ and nightlife community, and was the co-owner of an event promotion company. She was also the co-CEO of the International Mother of the Year Pageantry System, a pageant that honors LGBTQ mothers. Lexi, a transgender woman, was killed in Harlem, New York on March 28th, according to reports. Lexi was fatally stabbed in Harlem River Park. I really looked up to her because of her tolerance and respect, said Livonia Brooks, a friend of Lexi. Lexi had a beautiful heart and she was very gifted. Brooks also noted that Lexi loved poetry, makeup, and fashion. You can get behind the poetry part. Joanna Metzger, a transgender woman, killed in Baltimore, Maryland on April 11th, according to reports. She was visiting a Baltimore recovery center from Pennsylvania at the time. Joanna was known for her love of music and taught herself to play multiple instruments. Serena Angelique Valquez Ramos, 32, was killed in Puerto Rico on April 21st. Ramos was killed alongside Layla Pele Sanchez, 21. According to reports, Ramos was visiting the island on vacation and was set to return to her home in Queens, New York at the end of the month. Loved ones are mourning her death, calling her full of life, a happy person, and a sincere friend. On May 1st, two men were charged under federal hate crimes law for Ramos's death. I already read about Layla Piz Sanchez. But Sanchez had recently moved to the island and was living in the Tejas neighborhood in Los Piedras. On May 1st, two Puerto Rican men were charged with federal hate crimes for Sanchez's death. Layla Sanchez was also 21. Yeah, I said that. Okay. Penelope Diaz Ramirez. A transgender woman was killed in Puerto Rico on April 13th. Penelope did not deserve to die. Transgender people do not deserve to die. Every single advocate, ally, elected official, and community member must stand up and lighten this horrific news and say no more. What we are doing is not enough, said Tori Cooper, HRC Director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative. Nina Pop. A black transgender woman was killed in Sikeston, Missouri on May 3rd. She is deeply loved by her family and friends and community, according to her Facebook page. Elijah O'Regan. 20-year-old transgender woman killed in San Antonio, Texas on May 6th. O'Regan was proud of her trans identity, and on Twitter she often spoke out against injustice, including the LGBTQ inequality, prison industrial complex, and the need to decriminalize sex work. Damian Terrell Campbell, 42, has been charged with O'Regan's murder. Tony McDade. A black transgender man was killed in Tallahassee, Florida on May 27th. His friends and family shared how he was energetic and giving with a big heart. Dominique Remy Bells. A black transgender woman who was killed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on June 9th. One personal friend posted online, Dom was a unique and beautiful soul who I am lucky to have known personally. I am beside myself right now. We need to fight. We need to do more. We need to do more. We will get justice. Rhea Milton, a 25-year-old black transgender woman killed in Liberty Township, Ohio, June 9th. In March, she posted this status. Never been scared to struggle. I'ma get it eventually. A comment highlighting her resilience and optimism as a person facing a transphobic, misogynist, and racist society. Jane Thompson, a 33-year-old white transgender woman, was killed in Mesa County, Colorado on May 9th. She was killed by a Colorado State Patrol trooper and misgendered in initial news reports. Wow, that's terrible. Selena Reyes Hernandez, 37-year-old transgender woman, was killed in Chicago on May 31st. We've lost a beloved member of our trans family because of hate. Hate that has corrupted our country's soul and shatters the lives and futures every day. Tori Cooper, HRC Director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative. Brian Egypt Powers, a 43-year-old black transgender person, killed in Akron, Ohio on June 13th. Powers worked at a local catering company and is remembered for wearing long, colorful braids, unicorn braids as Powers called them. Brayla Stone, a 17-year-old transgender girl, was found killed in Little Rock, Arkansas on June 25th. Rayla Stone was a child beginning to live her life, child of trans experience, a black girl, a person who had hopes and dreams and plans and community, said Tori Cooper, HRC Director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative. On September 4th, a man was arrested on murder charge in connection with her death. Goodness. 17-year-old? Lord. Mercy Mack. A 22-year-old black transgender woman was killed in Dallas, Texas on June 30th. Her loved ones shared how beautiful a friend she was. On her social media, she had recently posted that she enjoyed baking and she was looking forward to returning to work. On July 8th, a man was arrested for a charge connected to her death, a murder charge connected to her death. Becky Peters. A 22-year-old black transgender woman was killed in Amity City, Louisiana on July 1st. In just 4 days, we've seen the death of at least 3 transgender and gender nonconforming people, including Shaky Peters. The horrific spike in violence in our community has been an urgent call to action for every single person in this nation. This is Tori Cooper, Director of Community Engagement for HRC's Trans Justice Initiative. Bree Black, a 27-year-old black transgender woman who was killed in Pompano Beach, Florida, July 3rd. These killings are being fueled by the deadly combination of racism and transphobia, and they must cease. We must come together as a community and demand justice for those who were taken from us, said Tori Cooper, Director of Community Engagement for HRC's Trans Justice Initiative. Summer Taylor, a white non-binary person, was in Seattle, Washington on July 4th. Taylor was participating in a Black Femme March in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and against police brutality. Taylor worked full-time at Urban Animal Veterinary Hospital. Marilyn Cesares was a transgender Latina killed in Brawley, California. Mindy Garcia, an aunt of Cesares, said she loved to sing and dance and never bothered anyone. Dior H. Ova, who some reports identify as Tiffany Harris, black transgender woman, was killed in the Bronx, New York. According to her Facebook, Ova loved fashion, listing her career as a personal shopper and posting photos with luxury fashion brands that she loved. On August 13th, a man was arrested on a murder charge connected to her death. Kenisha D. Hardy, a 22-year-old black transgender woman, was killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on July 27th. Hardy, a hairstylist, was extremely loved by her community. Friends and loved ones described her as loyal and always smiling, life at the parties, and truly one of a kind. Aja Raquel Rone Spears, who sometimes used the name Rocky Road, a black transgender woman, was killed in Portland, Oregon on July 28th. According to Facebook, she studied at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and was the owner and founder of the international Barbie Portland-based clothing brand. Lee Rochelle Day, a 28-year-old black transgender woman, died in Cuyahoga County Jail in Cleveland, Ohio on August 30th. Leah's death is unacceptable. Increased risk factors such as homelessness combined with racism, sexism, and transphobia conspired to lead to a death that never should have happened. This is Tori Cooper, HRC Director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative. P. Sam, a transgender black woman, was killed in Lafayette, Louisiana on August 12th. We must all speak in support of trans and gender non-conforming people and affirm that Black Lives Matter," said HRC Tori Cooper, director of the Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative, and was killed in Independence, Missouri on September 19th. Her friends and family shared, "If you wanted to have a good day, you need to smile. Erin was the person you wanted by your side." Mia Green, 29-year-old Black transgender woman, was killed in Philadelphia on September 28th. Her friends and family shared how her smile was so perfect and so contagious she made me laugh. Michelle Michelin Ramos Vargas, a transgender woman from Puerto Rico in her mid-30s, was killed in San Juan, Puerto Rico on September 30th. This level of violence, any level of violence, is unacceptable. We are not doing enough to protect transgender and gender non-conforming people, especially trans women, said HRC's Tori Cooper, director of Community Engagement for the Transgender Justice Initiative. Alicia Harris, a 33-year-old transgender woman killed in Augusta, Georgia in October. Alicia was an interior decorator who owned her own company where she enjoyed lending her eye to improve the surrounding of others and made others feel comfortable in their own space. Brooklyn Deshauna, a Black transgender woman killed in Severnport, Louisiana on October 7th. Brooklyn attended Bossier Parish Community College and studied cosmetology. Sarah Blackwood, a transgender woman, was killed in Indianapolis, Indiana on October 11th, recognized as National Coming Out Day. She enjoyed playing video games and was a fan of the show My Little Pony. And lastly, we have Angel Unique, a 25-year-old transgender woman killed in Memphis, Tennessee on October 25th. A licensed cosmetologist, friends and family of Angel remembered her being very funny, very nice to everyone she met, and such a bright person with a positive spirit. And that's a whole 36 people. I went through that whole list and read their little paragraphs about them. Yeah, they're the people you need to remember. And also remember all the people who are non-binary and gender non-conforming, because they are trans too. Remember the ones who are alive but forced to suffer, like Alex from hashtag his name is Alex. Just remember everything and maybe learn a bit more about it to treat each other better. But anyway, one more wave of the transgender flag. Remember, you have to be the change you want to see in this world. So if you want to make things better for yourself and for others, go out and make a change. That's what I'm trying to do here. To reach as many people as I can with my platform that I'm trying to make and try to make something of it. That being said, that's all I have for you guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Happy Transgender Day of Remembrance.